Catherine Austin Fitz is our guest, and we've got her website linked up on Infowars.com. Give us your website address, Catherine, if folks want to learn more.
solari.com, and just click on blog, and it'll take you right to the blog, too.
So solari.com, very simple.
Very simple.
Okay, and you got cut off during your story. Recap it and continue.
Okay, so I'm in London giving this presentation of a paper called The Myth of the Rule of Law, and the boys have coolly sent over this guy, who somehow is going to question my credibility. I finished my presentation, and it was very well documented, very calm, very professional, very much from the investment point of view. And this guy, you can see as I'm giving the paper, he's getting more and more frustrated, because he can't, it's very impeccable. And so we finish, and he bursts out. He doesn't even raise his hand to ask a question. He said, "You don't understand. You can't trust the people to behave in a responsible way." And then I looked at him and I said, "So you mean you kill all the people who will take responsibility?" And it was like a man looking in the mirror. He froze, freaked, and stood up and just left. I guess he just flew back to the United States. But there, the challenge you have is that the people at the top, the leadership, assume that the people will not do the responsible thing, and you've got a negative cycle. And the question for us is, one, we need to get as far away from these people as possible. We need to withdraw our support, because if you look at households in this country, Alex, and our money, we're the one who are financing them. We're turning on their TV, we're watching their media, we're buying their newspapers, we're putting our money into Wall Street, we're putting our money in the big banks. We're financing this, and we have the power to simply withdraw. Very passive-aggressive. You don't have to go confront them. You don't have to, get hit with tear gas at a march. All you have to do is say, something, I'm taking my mind and my money, and I'm leaving.
Well, here's a microcosm. Briefly. I don't go shopping a lot, but this Saturday with my wife and children, I went to Target to buy cookingware because our pots and pans were getting kind of worn out. And we went over to the Tupperware area, the plastic Tupperware, and I'd say over 80% was suddenly glass. And it was all, the heat-resistant, shatterproof, or shatter-resistant brands has almost completely displaced. And I was watching while my wife was shopping in that area, I was watching women who do 80+% of the purchases studies show going up and buying the glass. And I asked the lady, I said, "Why are you doing that?" And she said, "Well, Alex, I like your show. It bisphenol A." So, and every police officer I see in Austin on the street or the road pulls over and says they're a fan now. I mean, and this is just my microcosm. I mean, we've reached critical mass. So just like people now know bisphenol A is bad, they're changing things with their purchases. And that's what you're saying is we need to do that with everything.
Everything. And let me tell you something. I've seen stories get on corporate media because they're afraid that you're pulling market share from them, and they can't afford to ignore it any money because you're pulling too much traffic. Well, Yahoo, keep it up. And that's why, if more and more cash is coming into your site, you can provide more and more coverage. People buying DVDs, buying things from your site is going to get them more of the honest media, and it's going to shift the corporate media because they're going to be afraid. So we have the power with our time, our attention, our admiration, our money across the board. Just start voting for the people that you want to represent you and lead you. Now, I want to cover an area today which to me is so important. It's one you've done a lot on that's very important, but it's right now it's at a strategic inflection point, and that's food. Food. If there is one thing where a person needs to come up with and say, I don't want to be dependent on the corporate systems, I don't want to be dependent on industrial agriculture, I'm going to figure out a way to build and operate, my own food system. I'm going to connect with the local farmers, I'm going to connect with the farmers markets, I'm going to learn about what food I need to be eating to be healthy, because if you feel your children, are like gods. They can only stay that way, Alex, if they're not putting poison into their body. And they're right now in the food area, what is going on is a war. We see all across the country people enforcing against raw milk. Anything that has animal proteins, which is the source of incredible physical strength and intellectual energy, we're watching come down. We see people enforcing all over the country on raw milk. I don't know whether you saw several weeks ago with the police coming in with guns drawn to arrest a food club in Venice that was selling raw milk yogurt. Did you see that?
Yes, I did. Catherine, stay there. Long segment coming up. You won't be interrupted for 18 minutes afterwards. Let's come in. I totally agree with you. The controllers are manipulating us through the food with chemicals they're adding. That's one reason to get out of their system. But also, we've got to become self-sufficient now. We'll be right back. Solari.com is her excellent website. Key information, her intellect, full spectrum analysis of the globalist master plan. I love the terms she's coined, like central banking warfare model. Just amazing stuff there on the site, Solari.com, Solari.com. Our sites are Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. And I do want to tell listeners, I can't help it. Everybody asked me to do more search terms, and soon we're going to have a voting system where you can vote once a week and kind of like dig, and it'll vote up what search term you want us to promote every week. We're going to be doing that with the social network. One thing we're going to be doing where you will choose, as the listeners, what the term is going to be for the week. But pre-crime, P-R-E-crime, C-R-I-M-E, as one word, that is the search term of the day. And we'll turbocharge the Drudge Report link to this scary article about computers predict what crime will be committed where and by who and when by surveilling your cell phone, your power bill, your internet surfing, your bank accounts. The government's dumping this all into giant databases. And after we talk about food, I want Catherine Austin Fitts to talk about this surveillance grid. And Google, in its own words, this is in the article, has purchased a Defense Department-connected company. And they were funded by, of course, In-Q-Tel, an admitted CIA consortium. Google itself was, to, quote, predict the future. I've been telling you this for years. This is what this is all about. They can already, over 93% accuracy, just off of following your cell phone beacon with the GPS triangulation, after a few months of watching where you go and what you do, they know patterns of what you're going to do to 93% accuracy. This is what they admit, by tracking where you go and what you do. And they get an entire psychological image of you, and they're violating your Fourth Amendment. But more importantly, they can interject fake data into this and claim you're a criminal when you're not. It's just like the behavioral face scanners now in the airports. They're testing at, 6 airports that supposedly say your face looked criminal, or major airlines saying the back seat will film and record everything you're saying, and computers will take the audio of what you're saying. If you yell at your kids, CPS will be waiting to take them when you land. I mean, this is what they're admitting. Everyone will wear taser bracelets. Homeland Security's looking at that. So you're all criminals. But Catherine, continuing with food and other issues, then we'll get into pre-crime.
Okay, so we're watching enforcement against raw milk around the country in ways that are really frightening. But now with these egg recalls, we're starting to see articles saying we need to pasteurize the eggs. Okay, so after milk, what is one of the great sources of animal protein to people? It's eggs. Well, Alex, I can't imagine anything more insane than putting eggs through a process where you destroy all the vitality, nutrition, and life force in them. I mean, so the pasteurization of eggs is now coming.
And they'd already been promoting that before this happened, and they're talking about not letting family farms have their own eggs. So it's a new level. They want to radiate them. They want to cook them. The milk is very healthy, the studies show, until they boil it and pasteurize it. It turns into basically sludge that is deadly to the heart. So this is the weaponization of the food.
Right, and well, it's the how did we kill the Indians? We killed their food supply. If you want to kill a people in a subtle way, you kill their food first, and then you control it and have the remaining population be totally dependent. So the first thing people can do to help themselves is each person in their own life, their own household, start to build food freedom, food independence. it is crazy that we're all buying lottery tickets when our small farmers go without capital. So, start, if you're a tither, start investing in building that local food supply.
And when you see people selling peaches, pull over and buy some, or watermelons. Go to the farmers markets, or move out to the edge of town. Austin's actually passed a law where you can have chickens. A lot of people are doing it. Have a few chickens, and that way everybody's got chickens. They can't stop us from getting our own eggs. Right.
And, you have ediblecommunities.com is starting local food magazines in every area. Austin has a wonderful one. That's somebody you might consider having on the show. And find, there are these huge sort of networks growing up, and they're fun. They're great. It's a way to meet great people, to have a lot of fun. Food brings out the best in us, and fresh food really brings out the best in us. So, so find the people who are building that. There are food clubs. There's something called community-supported agriculture, CSA. There are community gardens. There's just an endless array of things, and each one of us, Alex, has to do the thing which is, time convenient. You want to do this in a way which is convenient and fun for you, but get out of the big grocery stores. Get out of corporate. The corporate food is not safe. That's what it's so hard for most people to fathom how dangerous the poisons have become in the food system.
Let me add something to this. Through my son and some of his homeschooling friends, I've met people that live out in Wimberley and Dripping Springs, and I've even thought about trying to move out there, but the commute would be over an hour for me to get to my studio from Wimberley, and Dripping Springs doesn't seem to be far enough out. But when I've met these parents, they're lawyers, they're doctors, they're scientists, and many of them know who I am, but before they ever heard my show, they all know everything about the New World Order. I was out there a few months ago at a camp out for a birthday party. I was talking to medical doctors. They knew 15 years ago about the plan to have vaccines that go in and reprogram the brain to make you a submissive zombie. Now it's being advertised in the news as great. They knew all about the takeover of food. They created their own community food co-ops with incredible quality. It was the best food I ever ate, and they're obsessed with it, and they've now got this whole community of awake people. So if you find the people in your area that are involved in these food co-ops and things, you're going to find the people that know what's going on. I mean, it was amazing is what I'm saying, and now I'm finding that it's spreading all over. The globalists are scared.
Right, and look at where we've had. Let's refer to our team as the pro-decentralization team. We're the people who want, because the New World Order has a plan to modify the central banking warfare. We need our own plan, and so we've got to reinvent how we do things, and it all starts with food. And what you'll discover, if you look at where our team has had successes, we were successful in homeschool. They tried to stop homeschooling, and we said, oh, no. And look at it, homeschool's growing gangbusters. Swine flu, they tried to push the swine flu. Alex, you were enormous in helping to stop that. But there are too many people who are smart about health care now, and they couldn't get it done. Now, you saw Dr. Marcola's new interview. You've got it up on your website. So now they're trying to integrate it with a normal flu shot to get it done this year.
And that's what's incredible is the British Medical Journal, the EU Medical Commission. We've had the head of the journal, the editor, and the head of the EU Commission on, and they conclusively found premeditated lie. The shots give a tenfold increase in convulsions, massive increases in Guillain-Barré. It was a total hoax, and there was record low of people taking regular seasonal and the H1N1. So we had a record low in the last 20-plus years. This was admitted. Flu season because people didn't take the flu shots because all the evidence shows it's causing most of the flu, just like the UN's been caught in Asia, Africa, and Latin America in the last 5 years, giving people weaponized polio shots that actually are killing and maiming them. And so now they're back again saying you got to take the flu shot or you're dead. But as you said, record low of people buying the propaganda.
So